Hello everyone, hope you guys are well. Just gonna start the stream up. I think I messed around with a little bit of it last week, and oops, let's continue fixing that. How's everyone doing today? So this is my team in terms of how I'm setting it up. Employer still keeping you busy? Yeah. I mean, I'm completely fried this week. I've already made a move. It's Isak to Watkins. Just really like the move, to be honest. Market odds are absolutely insane for Aston Villa. The goal line is just so high. So yeah, probably put up vice captaincy on him, but I think I'll still go with the Cole Palmer captaincy. I think Watkins is probably the best captaincy, just in terms of the quality of the game, and then the kind of expected goal share. But you know, penalties and all. Fabrizio Romano, Houston, here we go. Ooh, okay. That might actually be the best news I've seen this week. I'll take that. But yeah, let's just actually read a couple of chat messages. Hope you guys are doing well. As I said, I'm completely fried. I think I was working up until like 1 a.m. last night. So I am a bit of a zombie, if I'm honest. A couple 50-50 decisions within my own team. I'm playing Nico Williams over Ait Nuri, simply because I guess I'm playing Eze, so kind of want to maximize the range of outcomes again. O'Brien was in training, so that's positive. Anderson, just gonna hope that he does something. Guardiola, similar case there. That is a mirror matchup, but at least City probably have better clean sheet odds than, let's say, the other two defenders. In terms of the midfield, things like that. And also Guardiola, recently playing in a more offensive position is nice. Yeah, captaincy for me is between Palmer and Watkins within my own team. I think for a lot of other people, I can see people considering between Mbeumo as well. And I think they're all very good picks. But when I look at the money line, not the money line necessarily, but the goals line and just the, I guess, expected goal scoring numbers, the assist threat, for example, from Palmer, I'd probably back towards the two options that I mentioned over Mbeumo. Epios is asking if we should start Raul Sar or Ait Nuri. I'd probably still start Sar. I think his minutes will still be good. But some people actually are saying that that's not the case, and maybe that's wrong. But I just think coming out of the FA Cup final, most players are still going to play that last home game of the season. I think that's quite relevant. He is a young player, so I think that kind of adds to it. Daniel, Game Week 37, Sully Saka can bring in Vardy. Okay, Game Week 38, you will bring Saka or Eze, or Game Week 37, Sell Marmouche and bring in Vardy / Beto. Game Week 38, you can't afford Saka. I don't actually mind either. But I think I just generally prefer doing the Vardy line, because I think getting rid of Eze is going to be nice. Having Saka for 38, I think, in place is nice. And it's not like, for example, this week you're going towards someone like Watkins, right? So you're still kind of going for a differential within the forward line, and yeah, I'll probably take that. Is Watkins? Yeah, I think I've read that one. We're taking a hit for Saliba the console. I don't think so, because I think Saliba is just so good for the next week. Oh right, sorry, I came from work. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of done for today, but I'm not done for the weekend. Watkins Isak is locked in this week. Then you should have enough for KDB to Saka in 38. Is it worth you taking a hit this week to take out Mateta for Wisa? I'd probably just keep Sar, personally. I think one of the Crystal Palace players is playable this week, so if you're in that sort of position where you're going to play one out of the two, I'd probably just play Sar, as opposed to taking a hit. Napstars, I start Henderson or Sells. I'd probably start Henderson. Hey, Fran, who'd you start out of Isak and Alanga? I'd probably still start Isak. Also, would you start Munoz or Dean? Munoz for me. It's a close one, actually. I guess Dean actually has better clean sheet odds. I'd probably do Dean. Luca Dean. I don't love the -4 Isak to Watkins. I probably wouldn't have done that. If Palmer flops today, it's over. Well, it's already over, my friend. Hate to say it. Hi, Fran. Managed to overtake my mini league leader. Was trailing my by 29 points last week. Now you're 3 points ahead. He has Rogers. You don't. Is Sar to Rogers a good move? I think it is a good move, but obviously I don't know the rest of your team. I think that's a really good hedge, though, because generally speaking, Rogers has really good fixtures for the next two. Dream Brother, what are you doing with your captaincy? Good luck with Palmer Cap. Thank you. Triple captain for whom? I'd probably slap it on Watkins. Marmouche to Vardy? Yeah, I'd sell Marmouche this week, probably. No guarantee his minutes will be good for the rest of the season. Sorry, Anish, I did miss the super chat. You're right. I apologize on that. GK sells. I'd probably still play Raya over sells, but it's close. I think the clean sheet odds for Arsenal and Nottingham Forest are like basically bang on the same. But I think since you're not even playing Isak anyways, it kind of feels nice to potentially just play the Arsenal player, but up to you. Defense, Guardiola, Dean, Kukurea. That makes sense. Midfield, Salah and Bemo. Rogers, Enzo, Eze. Love that. And the forward line, Luisa Wood. I think all the options make a lot of sense. Presumably, you've already used the transfer, so I guess I won't recommend something like Marmouche out, but yeah, those are quite interesting picks. Who to bench out of Cunha, Wisa, Shada, and Salah? I'd probably actually just bench Cunha at that point. Vardy captain shout. I really just don't think there's that much of a gulf between teams like Leicester and Ipswich. So it's not like a super one-sided matchup, I'd say. Obviously his goal threat is there. It's probably the highest it'll be for a while. So yeah. Start two, Eze, Isak, or Rogers. Probably Eze and Rogers for me. I'd bench Isak. Doing double force defense gimmick plus Branthwaite, hoping for a final push. I think that makes a lot of sense. I was actually speaking to someone who had double Arsenal defense and double force defense. And I basically just said to him, like, you might as well go double force defense. Especially since he had Isak in his team as well. And, you know, like, they don't have a terrible fixture this week. All things being said, I think everyone has a third defender that's a little bit iffy this week. And so what if it's a force defender? If Vardy scores, he'll take his shirt off. That's true and get booked 100%. But if you're telling me he's going to score, I mean, you might as well transfer him in. If I'm going to have to take a hit for Mateta or Sarr next week versus Liverpool, should I just do it now? No, because you never know what's going to happen from now till then, right? I think one of the things that's interesting is like you've got a lot of cup matches that probably create a little bit more information that we need. And then honestly, we don't really know the direction of, let's say, top five, I guess. Maybe you can also say that it's going to be inconclusive, but that also kind of suggests that's why you should hold the transfers. Marmouche or Isak, thanks for the advice. I'd play Isak easily. Start Marmouche or Sarr plus Eze. I'd just go double Crystal Palace. Thoughts on bringing Kukurea? Do you prefer an Everton defender? I would actually bring Kukurea. If you have the opportunity and you have the money to go for Kukurea, I would definitely go for him instead. Even let's say an Aston Villa defender makes a lot of sense too. Dimitris, thank you so much for the super chat. Start Sarr or Evan Nilsson. I'd probably still start Sarr. But the minutes could be suspect. So, of course, Evan Nilsson's a bit of a safer play when it comes to minutes. Captain Watkins / Palmer. I personally prefer Palmer, but I think the market odds have been leaning heavily towards Villa. So I guess if you're, if you want to back that, then go for it. Dream Brother Wood will score. Please don't score. Have an iffy 11 player this week. Going to be Semenyo Cunha. I think Semenyo's probably the better men's play, but yeah, I kind of get what you mean in terms of Cunha. Do you think Eze may not start? No, I think Anish actually. I think Eze will start personally. I just think, you know, out of all the Palace players most likely to not play the next match, I think it's Mateta. Hi, Fran. Marmoush Salah for Watkins and Palmer with a -4 hit. Good or bad idea? I think that's generally a good idea. Yeah, because I mean, you probably get the two best picks in this week standalone, and then I think Marmoush's minutes just aren't good enough. And then this gives you an opportunity to move into two players who are quite strong. I just don't love, I guess, moving from Salah to Palmer for a -4, but I guess you have to move one player to get Watkins. So, you know, if that's the play, so be it. Stick with Glasner. Any good AM for this week? I think Potter is good. I think Herzler is good as well. Excuse me. I don't think Glasner is a very good AM this week. Sarlang, Mateta, and Isak one needs to be benched. I'd probably bench Mateta. KDB cap last game at the Etihad. Yeah, but that's just the narrative, right? If every footballer could have an amazing swan song, then I'd be rich. I'd just bet for it every time. Is -4 valid to evade Marmoush? Probably, to be honest. Because I think there's just guarantees that you can get, right? And that could be better than dealing with yeah, those kind of situations. Is Watkins worth a -4? Depends who you're going out of. I think in a lot of these cases, it's like if you're selling Salah or selling Isak, probably not worth a -4, unless you really are sort of making decisions so that you can kind of go maximum risk. Why is Isak above Mateta this week, even though they have Arsenal and he's got an injury apparently? What do you mean by Isak is above Mateta? Sorry, I guess. What are we thinking about here in terms of above? If you haven't figured your Watkins plus midfield combined chat, my recommendation is Roger Neto. That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, like, you mean like just simply evading Watkins and just going for a midfielder pick, like type of transfer? I think a lot of people are sort of in that position where they're thinking about selling, you know, a Sar or selling a Mateta this week into, let's say, a Rodgers, and then or into a direct transfer like Beto or Vardy. And I think that's valid as well. You know, you don't always have to go Isak to Watkins. I'm not even sure for sure if Isak to Watkins is actually a very good move in my position, to be quite honest with you all. Yeah. Like maybe what I should have considered something like going Asensio as well. But here I am. Do you think TAA plays any more minutes this year? Yeah, I think he'll probably play in the last home game. Whether that actually matters or not, I don't know. You know, it was an unfortunate. I mean, I think he'll play for sure. But like, are we talking starting? I think maybe different. He kind of has to start though to get subbed off, doesn't he? So maybe starting the final game of the season. Start Munoz or O'Brien. I'd definitely go O'Brien. Hi Frank, could you take the last minute look at your team? Yeah, we can definitely do that. Watkins cap is the way. Protagonist. I don't think there's really too much to do it. I don't think there's too much else you have to do there. Start Saliba Bradley. I'd start Saliba personally. O'Brien may not play. Yeah, but that's because O'Brien actually had a knock, right? It wasn't because O'Brien was suddenly out of the squad for performance reasons. Like O'Brien's probably been under Moyes their second most important defender, and their most important defender actually is out for the season, if that makes sense. O'Brien had a knock on Friday, which Moyes confirmed, which is why he was benched. But not even benched, sorry, he wasn't even in the squad. Start Roller Nuri. I'd probably start Raul. Salah cap to Chase. I mean, at this rate, is going to be a differential. So why not? Bowen versus Socek for gaming 38. I don't think that's even close. I think it's Bowen. Last question. KDB to Saka roll? I'd probably just roll. The week that I want Saka's next week, I'd wait for next week. Start Roller Clivert. I'd probably actually go Raul at this rate. It's a bit tough because I don't think Clivert's minutes are that good. Solid to Rogers, I wouldn't do that move. In terms of Mateta having Wolves and Isak has Arsenal, but people learning more towards selling Mateta. Yeah, but I think part of it too is that Mateta's minutes also do just feel poor, right? So if you think that Mateta is going to be prioritized, for example, for the FA Cup final, then suddenly his minutes look really precarious for game week 37 as well. I literally set a timer for myself. Can't explain to you how tired I am from work, but I am so glad that the weekend is here. Watkins captain, I think, is a definite yes. If I didn't have Palmer, I think I'd easily want a Watkins captain. I don't think there's an option actually even close to Watkins. So, yeah. Should I start Nuri, Bradley, or Saliba? I probably just about play Saliba. It depends. Honestly, I'd play Saliba if I didn't have Isak, and I'd play Nuri otherwise. Because I think those two options are close, and I'd probably just choose the defender that I don't have an attacker going against. Selling Mateta to Wisa makes sense. Is it worth a -4 to sell Isak to Watkins? I don't think so, personally. Watkins or Palmer? I'm going Palmer, but that's just me. I think Watkins is probably the safer captaincy. What's the reasoning for captaining Palmer? Midfielder, I guess. Super high quality game compared to, let's say, the Watkins game. Obviously a little bit behind in terms of goal share, but as a midfielder, I'd take those chances. Presumably you'd back Villa defenders easily. I think I've backed Villa defenders like every single week against our Arsenal defenders, and I've said it on the stream every week, just because the fixtures have been better. And surprisingly, Aston Villa defensive numbers, like the underlying stats, are incredible. So congratulations to any people who's gotten clean sheets. What I feel super hard done by is because I went for the free at 33, that suddenly closed me off from actually having to need to buy Aston Villa players at all, and they've just been getting cleans left, right, and center, which has been so tough. From to me an outcome standpoint. Obviously, someone will just say that's decision making. Rogers captain. Hey Trey, hope you're doing well, man. If I had him, yeah, that's another sort of piece towards the wild card. I guess I had so much money that I could actually afford Clivert and sort of troll with him. But in reality, that's sort of, spin in my own face, and I've been trolled by Clivert. Really wish I had Rogers in the wild card. Isn't deadline 6 p.m? That it is correct, actually. It is 6 p.m. I apologize. Yeah. Best triple captain, Palmer worth it. Actually, I think Palmer Watkins is good. Who would you drop for Watkins? Wood, Isak, Wisa? I mean, if you actually could drop Wood, I probably would drop Wood. But then if you're also worried about the Isak surgery sort of aspect, I guess Isak is right there. Keep AM on Glasner. I would probably just do a -4 to Potter and chase table bonus. Does the Gandhi curse not exist anymore? I don't know. It's the evening, no? Technically. Do we circumvent it like so? Let's do a captaincy poll. Isak or Savinho to start? Just to start, just this question. I had to chase Salah to Palmer and didn't want a hit, but 30 points behind. It is a 6 p.m. UK time deadline, Danny. 6 p.m., not 7 p.m. Sell Isak to Vardy punt. Yeah, I don't mind that. Free hit squad. I'd probably go triple Villa. United League penalties. Well, I bloody hope so. I'd probably go triple Villa, which means Watkins, Rogers, Asensio. Just go all out attack. I'd go Palmer. And I'd probably go Madueke or Neto. Choose one of the two. And I'd probably get Kukureya. So that's 6 players. My goalkeeper this week, I think, is most likely going to be maybe Pickford, right? I'd probably go Beto as well. And then that's 2 players. So I've got 8 players now. And then 3 players left. So I need to pick 2 defenders. I'd probably actually pick another Everton defender. So maybe double Everton defense is the way. I'd probably go Mikolenko because I think he's nailed on. Or go Branthwaite because his ownership is even lower. And then I'd maybe just go with Munoz potentially as my 3rd defender. And I think that's it, right? That's their team. Or do you need one more midfielder? Maybe that one last midfielder is probably going to be Mbeumo. And then that's it, right? You've got Asensio, you've got Rogers, Watkins, Palmer, Madueke, Beto. So that's 3-4-3. Yeah, looks good to me. You could also, like, I guess instead of going Beto, you could also go Vardy if you wanted to. Like, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. But I think Beto is going to have good minutes. He's played really well recently. I can't see why he'd be subbed too early. So I'd probably take my chances on actually going Beto. But if you want to go Vardy and then actually go something like triple Everton defense, no one's going to stop you. I think that's actually a really solid pick. A really solid selection, actually. Because honestly, if you want to maximize your outcomes, actually, like backing one defense isn't a bad idea. Tempted to get Palmer for -4 would move my armband for him or roll and play Eze and Captain Bomo. I think the -4 is probably too excessive for Palmer. Because we also have to think that Palmer's not amazing for game week 38. So I feel like moving towards Palmer is not the best. Your poll is skewed as like no one will have Palmer. Can you include Mbomo too? Sorry, that's true actually. That poll is literally restricted to myself. I apologize for doing that poll. Let's do a bipartisan poll. A non-bipartisan, sorry. As here for Asensio, the deadline is 6 p.m. UK time. That is true. Captain and Belmore Watkins. I generally think if I had Watkins, I'd choose him over anyone but Palmer. And I think that's already close. Like Palmer and Watkins is close. Salah team Martinez, Kavira, Guardiola, Munoz, Salah, Bowen, Mbeumo, KDB, Beto, Wisa, Watkins. Perfect team. I think, yeah, I agree to benching Eze in this situation. I think that's correct. I think just because you actually have such a strong team, that is the correct bench order. So all I can say is you have an extremely impressive team. So congratulations to that. Any thoughts on Haaland in terms of minutes and captaincy? I mean, his minutes should be good. But if you already own Haaland, yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's a great game. Bournemouth are still a really solid team. We haven't really seen them get completely ripped apart this season. And, you know, like just from that as a little bit of context, I just don't love it. Like the ownership's going to be low, which is obviously the appeal to the move. But I feel like there's other low effective ownership type captaincies this week on offer that probably are still a little bit better. I don't know how you feel about it though. Maybe you disagree. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on that. Hey Ken, hope you're doing well. Hey Fran, Cliver to Asensio for -4. I don't mind that move, honestly. I mean, the minutes look really good for Asensio. Every Aston Villa predictor that I've seen is actually predicted for him to start. I can't see how he doesn't start just based on like the injuries that they have and etc. So yeah. Which one is worth a -4? Burn to Cucurella or Salah to Palmer? Probably the Burn move. But honestly, you've got Burn for Everton at home, which is such a good game. I would maybe just not -4 at all. We don't always have to be -4ing. Fran, your top 3K, would you do Isak and KDB out for Bowen and Watkins? I actually don't mind that. I don't love KDB's 2 games. Other than the home narrative, these are really good games for Bowen and Watkins. I quite like it. I don't know if he'll be benched the last game week, to be quite honest. But I'd take my chances. Thoughts on Saka captain? I'm not sure if I'm in love with Saka this week. I guess the question is Saka worse than, let's say, Rodgers? Maybe he is. I'd still definitely have Asensio over him. So, yeah. I think it's going for Asensio actually makes a lot of sense, especially since his ownership's low. You'd think he still has penalty share as well. So yeah. Oh, Isak or Savinho start? Yeah, I'd definitely start Isak. I don't think that's a question for me. Just because Savinho's minutes just look so frail. Like, even if he starts, how long is he going to play? Absolutely mind blown. Mbemo is predicting more points this week for Salah. Why do you think that is? I think that's home and away, though. I think it actually makes sense that Mbemo is a little bit ahead of Salah, sorry. Welbeck out for a -4. Why is that? I actually think the fixture's not too bad if you think Liverpool's on the beach. Milenkovic or Munoz? I'd go Munoz. You feel like you've always been chasing points for KDB? Yeah, I mean, there's always players that we're chasing points for in a sense, because unfortunately the way the game works, it's like, you either get lucky or you don't. Is starting Marmoush over Eze a risk? I think that's a bad move. I think I would just go Eze. Mostly because I think Eze's minutes, I still think generally are safe versus Wolves. I could be wrong, I could be wrong. But you think -4 in game week 37 stings no matter what. I guess it depends, right? Like, if you want injured players, that's a different question. If you're just doing a -4 because it's a -4 and you want to have different players in your team, not so sure. Mateta or Sar this week? I'd probably play Sar. I feel like his minutes are generally more safe than Mateta, especially over fixture congestion, which I think is the key differentiation here, right? Like, Mateta is clearly one of the more first choice players, but it's actually just about that. That kind of element. Sorry, just tuning into some work stuff. I'm going to post my team now, and I'm also going to change the deadline background. Sorry about that. I do recall that that was a problem. There we go, 6 p.m. deadline. Give me 1 sec. I'm just going to quickly post my team as well on socials. Not that it's that pretty, but it has to be posted anyways. We've got a lot of home games this week, which, big fan of home games, but I really just need Palmer to do something to save the season a little bit. I would love to get into the top 100k, but I think it just feels so unlikely at this point. But crazier things have happened. I've had pretty crazy Game Week 38s. I've had pretty crazy ends to the season, so I just want to sneak in somehow. And it feels super long, especially after 2 pretty good seasons in a row. Which player would I recommend triple captain? Probably Watkins. I guess the issue is more if Eze gets injured or plays 120 minutes in the final. Look, I mean, that's very fair. But then I guess that's also why you have a bench, right? Things like that. Love your cheat sheet series. It's helped the season. Really appreciate that, Dan. Is Neto a good shout? I think he definitely is. I think he definitely is. But I'd still say that I think Asensio is an even better shout. I'm trying to think if I should have actually considered Eze to Asensio myself, like previously. Maybe I should have. Because then Isak's minutes actually are really strong anyways. You know, I still think he's going to just have the surgery after the season. Maybe I should have just considered going Asensio. That's probably something I'll have to evaluate going forwards. I guess there's also the captaincy piece to it, like, or the penalty piece to it. Like, what if Asensio actually doesn't take penalties? Because that would suddenly change everything. Oh, there we go, another timer. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Should I have actually considered Asensio? Like maybe just moving out of Eze this week? It just felt so awkward moving out of Eze, especially if I think that Eze... Yeah, exactly. I think Isak's always needed it. So that's not my worry, but I think that maybe my worry is just about thinking about the minutes around Eze. But I still think Eze starts on 37. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and that's just a bad decision for me. Should I start Konsa or Saliba? I think Konsa is so clear of Saliba this week. Like, I don't think it's even funny. Anton, I hope you're doing well. 2 free transfers, but triple Aston Villa. Great triple up that you have anyways. You've got Rogers, Martinez, Rogers. So that's double Rogers, okay. Would you consider moving out of Watkins to get Watkins? I don't think you need to go Watkins if you already have triple Villa. Because I think a lot of people don't have the value of having that other triple, Villa type option. So, no, I wouldn't worry about that. I would try find another good move. Asensio should start. They basically just don't have enough players to start outside of him. So I can't really see why he wouldn't start, if that makes sense. Gonçalo Munoz, Guardiola. I would probably start those 3, literally in that order. Raya, Areola. I'd probably start Areola. Captain Watkins or Mbumo. I'd probably do Watkins. West Ham or Nottingham. I'd back West Ham just for the for this fixture. It's a really good assistant manager week for Potter, and equally, I suppose, for Hurstler as well. If you think Liverpool are beaching. You got triple captain left. I think this is a really good week to do it. I'd probably slam it on Watkins or Palmer. Assistant manager, as I said, Hurstler, Potter, I think are good shouts. Sarr, Alanga. I'd probably go Alanga because of minutes concerns. Why not Watkins over Cole Palmer? I actually like both, but I think Cole Palmer's ownership is even lower, so I'll probably take that chance. I've been told that my team was the best team on the Twitter timeline. How many weeks have I thought I've had a good team and not actually got good results? I don't know, but it's a lot. Be Rich, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for the super chat. I can't see a message associated to it, so if you leave a message in the live chat, I will definitely look out for it. Really appreciate it. Thanks again. Would you play Munoz or Aït-Nouri? I think Munoz with a heartbeat, with I mean, quite easily. Play Marmoush or Sar. I would play Sar. Marmoush to Wisa for -4. I'm not sure if I actually love Wisa versus Fulham that much. I'd probably actually back some of the better games on offer. But it's not a poor move. Yeah, I'd probably actually just do it if you're worried about Marmoush's minutes. You've been the downside of variance this year, I'd say. I mean, I generally think so. I mean, obviously, I've changed my approach of playing this game from purely using eye tests to then using a lot of data and trying to understand how data works, why it works, and I think my general process is aligned with the use of data. And I've not watched any less football. It's just that I do trust the data. I've probably played. Okay, you mean like I've gone for more risky options? Potentially. I suppose equally the field has sort of congregated on a lot of moves that have worked out really well. And so I think it looks even more obvious when, I guess, riskier moves, in theory, quote unquote, do worse. Because I feel like I've always played quite risky. Like last season, I did a wildcard 26 really late, and the impact was really tough. But then I managed to get super lucky at the end. Yeah, I'm definitely not result driven, but that's because like FPL is not the only way that I express my understanding of the Premier League, right? Or do other things. It's like I look at things like, I mean, I play a lot of other fantasy games which you might or might not use money in, and so it's like I look at these players in my team, and it's like ultimately just 11 decisions, and obviously, yeah. One of the funny things with FPL is like if you suddenly own a completely different team, you can use the same decision making process and get a completely different outcome, just because of, it's almost like you're parsing a line, right? Like, I don't know, from a tree branch, and you're just following a tree branch, and you get to make a couple of options, but you're just restricted within where you want to go, generally speaking. Double Arsenal defense, I think, makes a lot of sense. You've got probably what 27% clean sheet odds or something like that. It's not the worst thing ever. Wan-Bissaka or Saliba to start. I'd probably go Wan-Bissaka, honestly, just for the attacking threat. Thank you, Fran. Don't have Palmer, so Watkins. I think Watkins this week is super sensible. I would definitely go for it. Let's go. Thank you. Appreciate that. No one thinking about captaining Saka. Look, Newcastle are just a good defense, right? For the most part. Um, so even though it's away from Newcastle, I think they're just such good fixtures on offer. Like Palmer has a great fixture. Watkins has a great fixture. Best choice for assistant manager for me is Potter or Hertzler. I would say that they're close to 50-50, and I had a look at some of the probabilities on those two games as well. Pass 87. Hey, help me, Obi-Fran Kenobi. You're my only hope. I need the whole coffee pasta. Who to field and who to bench? 2 for 1. Rogers, KDB, Sar. I think Rogers, KDB easily. I would play them. You wanted to sell and bring someone from Arsenal, but you don't have the money for Saka. I think, who do you think I should bring? I mean, I'd just bring Martinelli or Trossard at that point. Probably Martinelli. Not captain Watkins is smart. So that FPL. See, the thing is, you can say that the FPL Olympian thing, but it's like I've been doing so bad this season, so basically anything I do is also just bad, right? From an outcome standpoint. It do be like that sometimes. It do be like that. KDB could be rested. Yeah, he could be. But if you've seen KDB's matches recently, like he's played in the doubles, right? So I just think he's gonna play, like very much like the previous double. If you think otherwise, that's fair. You're triple captain but can't decide between Palmer or Watkins. I feel like Watkins might be the safer play. I'm not saying it's like definitely the right decision, but just an inkling, I suppose. Bench Sar Isak? I'd probably bench Sar. You got Raya and Areola. I guess Areola doesn't make a huge difference, right? You could just play Areola as well. Good luck this week. You've gone Nuri over Williams, simply hoping Palace are shattered after from Saturday. That makes sense. And I don't think that's like entirely a wrong argument to have. I just kind of want to back an Eze outcome and conversely, I guess, another world where Nico also has an outcome that's positive for me. Do you think it's still worth starting Liverpool defenders? Not really. What's my score prediction for Palace vs Wolves? Probably 2-1. Start Ndiara Bowen. I'd start Bowen. Yeah, I'd still start Bowen. How sure are you that TAA will start Game Week 38? The thing is, like, I mean, he's going to inspire boos anyways, right? I'm just not sure what the plan is with Trent. I guess he could even be on the bench, but it's like, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, it's pure conjecture. I don't know what Slot's going to do. I don't know what Trent wants, right? Because like, in a sense, like, the games are meaningless now. It really is almost up to the player, up to the manager as well, like what they want to do. And how, I guess, they might even agree to have him be sent off, you know? Who knows? Isak or Watkins? Watkins for me. Mateta or Murphy? I'd probably still go Mateta, I think. You got Isak and Raya starting. You've also got Areola, Weiss, and Marmoush. I mean, nothing wrong with playing Areola over Raya, I would say. And then as far as Wisa, Marmoush, I'd probably not have Wisa benched. I'd play Wisa over Isak, most certainly. Let me know if you have different thoughts. Shada captain? I mean, if you want to. I don't think he's one of the best picks, but it's not like he's far from the worst. Which assistant manager? I think pick from Hurstler or Potter. Start O'Reilly. You think O'Reilly plays left back? Generally not sure if that's guaranteed at this point. Do Corey 1 week punt? No. For the score prediction, probably 3-0. Who do I start between Isak and Saka? What's your opinion? You don't know what to do. I'd play Saka. Just back the home game. Start Nico Williams or Konsa? I'd go Konsa once again. Just a much better game and at home. If you got Mbeumo, Wiesen, Rodgers, and Watkins, who would you recommend to captain? Watkins. You was thinking Isak and Wisa with Raya. I think that's not too bad. If you want to just hedge the outcome. Do you think I'd be mad to pick Murphy over Isak due to form? A little bit. But I don't think it's the worst pick ever. Ronald Dario. Nice to see you. Marmoush and Kluivert to Watkins and Palmer. I actually really like that. I think you're actually upgrading on both fronts there. Hi Fran. Should I bench boost? Your subs are Raya, Saliba, Livermento, Murphy. I'd probably wait for next week. My deadline says 6:30, isn't it 6? Yeah, but I think I've changed the background poll. So maybe if you bring yourself up to speed, it will be 6. That's a 1 week punt, I think is fine. Same with Vardy too. Jason Steele. One of my favorite goalkeepers, Jason Steele. How are you doing? Start Saliba, Nico Williams. I'd probably back Saliba. But if you own Isak, maybe you could still be encouraged to go Nico Williams. I don't think there's too much in that decision. Hope for the best within the context of your own team. Who should you triple captain? I like Palmer Watkins. I think I'd probably go Watkins because it's quite simple to go get there. Philip, nice to see you. How are you doing? What are your arguments behind Williams for Nuri? I'm simply playing Eze, and I think the clean sheet odds are close, so that's why I'm going Nico Williams. Frank, Potter, or Moyes? I'd probably go Potter, just based on the fixture. No Palmer Watkins at 2K. Yeah, but you're 2K, my friend, so I'm not even gonna treat that with any sort of respect. And honestly, the ownership for Palmer and Watkins is not even high. But yeah, is it nice that I have them this week? Sure. Does it even matter at this point? I don't know. I can't remember a game week where I had a good team and I actually had a good outcome from it. Isak, Montetta, Vardy, and Watkins C -4. I'd probably do that, yeah. Would you bench either Sar or Marmoush? I'd probably bench Marmoush. Did we do this already? Sorry, Isak. I would play Isak. Fran, start Montetta or Beto easily. I don't think that's close. You think a lot will bring in Watkins? I mean, a lot will bring him in, but even last week, for example, like I feel like a lot of people were bringing in KDB. A lot of people were potentially even bringing in Haaland, but the effective ownership is actually not that high. So, you know, close to the end of the season, I think, yeah, there's a huge amount of engaged managers and they all kind of congregate in terms of their moves. Like a lot of us are going Watkins, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a lot of people will still do that move. No hits this season, one last season, 12K, last season, 19K. That's amazing, mate. Well done. I'm going to need Palmer and Watkins to stink it up. Nah, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Wood or Haaland? Haaland for sure. Are we just talking starting and things like that? I need Palmer to save my season. I'm starting to lose my mind here. Going without Watkins brought Saka this week. I think that makes sense over the course of the next 2 games. Love your content. Thank you so much, Sajid. Hope you're doing well. Thanks, FaZe. Hey, here's my wildcard team. Pickford, Cuckoo, Brandt, Guardiola, and Mbumo, Palmer, Bowen, Rodgers. I would just say consider maybe an Arsenal player. Like I don't think Saka's too bad for the wildcard. Have a thought about it, you know? Maybe he's better than Bowen. You might disagree, but if you can get him into the team, it's not awful. And do we need Guardiola in the wild card? I'm just trying to think about it now. Like, are the 2 next fixtures that good? I guess you want to kind of cover the aspect of Guardiola being heavily owned, right? Yeah, maybe Guardiola still sits on the wild card. Is 100k still reachable from 140k? Well, I'm sitting at 171k, and I hope it's reachable. But we kind of have to make very risky decisions, and not risky decisions in terms of making bad decisions, but risky decisions in terms of effective ownership. So yeah, I think it's possible. I mean, last season I was like 1 point something K, and then I jumped into the top 500. So even in extremely high ranks where actually the point separation is very high, you know, that makes a difference. Isak got Vardy in. I don't think that's too terrible a move. My only thoughts are I think Isak is so much better than 38. Like, I think Isak to Watkins at least is justifiable because I think on paper Watkins just has 2 better games. But Isak is better than Vardy anyways, and then he's got Everton at home. So do I like that move? Not really. Mark is saying Brandon's top one. Mark is actually one of the greatest managers of all time, by the way, up until this season at least. And he's asking if he can get into the top 100k from 952,000. What a brutal season this is. I'll probably actually do a video with Mark with you actually, if you're down for it, you know, just to kind of show you like how crazy this game is when you can have consistently elite ranks in a row and then still somehow have a top 1 mil finishing season. Like this, so this was, by the way, this is Marco's ranks before this year, right? I'm gonna say all the ranks except for this year. So he finished 2.4k, 10k, 123, 20k, 700, 24k, 8k, 5k, 2k. So that's insane. And then before that, it's kind of average-ish season, 73k, then some pretty poor finishes. But imagine having 8 amazing seasons in a row where you're basically finishing in the top 25k, and then in like every 3-4 seasons you finish top 1k, and then you can still finish 1 mil. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the game sometimes, right? Mental. Munoz, Philip, yeah, I think I agree. Any leaks? Yeah, the leak is that Palmer's gonna absolutely smash it. I'm kidding. Hi, Fran. Sorry to Asensio for -4. I actually quite like the Asensio pick. I kind of I missed that piece in terms of, you know, my own team building, I guess, or decision making. Would you do Salah to Palmer, Fran, as my 1FT? Models like it. I probably would. probably would. Don't captain Palmer, Fran. Sorry, guys, I have to do it. It's the only way that I can save my season or ruin it further. Haaland, good for captain this week. I think he's okay. I still think Watkins is better. Will be nice to relive the nightmare this season. Why would I? I just don't think Palmer's a bad pick, you know? Shocker, but he's like top 3 in terms of market odds. In terms of goal scoring. And he's the only mid on that list. Like, I'll take my chances with this stupid little Cole Palmer guy. -8 for Watkins and Palmer. I don't think it's necessary to do a -8. Unless you actually have like really bad picks in your team that you want to part ways with. Why would you captain Palmer when... Who is YN? I'm so lost. Why no one captaining Salah? Beach, away from home. Beach, I guess. Salah to Palmer for -4. I don't think it's worth a -4. What do you think about Watkins as a captain over Salah? I think Watkins is great. Yo, mama. Wonderful. Mbeumo could also be a great captain's pick. I feel like he's the leveler, right? He's a bit of a floor pick. Like, Fulham aren't that bad of a defense. Take your chances with, I don't know, hopefully a bit more of a rotated... Like, even if, let's say, you know, Aston Villa or United go... Sorry, Tottenham or United go, like, relatively full strength for the starting lineup, you know? Guess how many of those players are still going to be playing at 65 minutes? Not a lot of them. So, yeah, it is a bit of a beach type game for them. Pep good enough for choice for assistant manager? I would transfer from Pep, personally. I don't think he's a good... I think he's a terrible assistant manager, actually. Is Palmer a good pick this week? I hope that's sarcasm. I might say no, just so that, you know, I'll pretend like he's a bad pick. But Salah's been making 90 minutes every game. I've never said Salah's minutes were bad, though. I just said that it's just not a great game because it's away from home, because Liverpool are just generally playing worse. Don't worry, Fran, you're captaining Palmer. Wonderful, Danny. Got to take a chance on Cole, but Sarr remains to start. I'd probably play Sarr. Your bench boosting this week, good luck. Bench 1, Ezir Shade. I'd probably bench Eze. In Vardy for Cunha or Isak for -4. I'd probably just go through Cunha. Because I think Isak at 38 is really good. Wood or Isak, I'd probably just go Isak. Good evening, Fran. Victor, bench 1. We just bench Marmoush easily. Marmoush's minutes just, I don't think, look good. Sorry, I'm literally just checking for leaks. Hello, Father Fran. You've been a legend all season. I appreciate that, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Beto for captain. I'd probably go Mbeumo over Beto still. Beto still doesn't have penalties. 5 minutes time to show real roster. Look, I hate to say it, but this is the real team. Friends to go. 6 minutes to go. This is the real team, sadly. Locked in on captaincy. I'll do it. You're leaning towards Mbeumo. I mean, I think if I don't captain Palmer, I'd have to just go for my main man Watkins over here. Yeah. Watkins is currently lower owned than Palmer. That's not true at all. You're looking at like TSB, right? But that's not effective ownership. Watkins' effective ownership, I think, potentially is higher. Also, a lot more people transferred in Watkins this week than, let's say, Palmer. So Watkins last week, what was his ownership? To us, you might actually maybe you're right. No, Watkins' ownership last week was actually higher than Palmer in like higher ranked tiers. Palmer's ownership was much lower. So yeah, Watkins actually is definitely gonna have higher ownership than Palmer. I don't think that's even a question. I have to go Palmer, yeah. I'm gonna let Palmer let me down one more time, as I said. It's gotta be done. It's gotta be done. 5-man defense, you feel like it? Fair play. Wood or Isak? I'd go Isak. 2 he Frank. What does that mean? Thomas Frank? If you're 50k, then maybe hedge. I feel like both ways they're gonna be sub 100%, right? So I'm just going for the best like variance outcome, I suppose. Join us in the Palmer boat. Go for it, Philip. Yeah. Let's go together. I think Asensio has to play. Vardy captain, I don't love. Not gonna deal with spam in the chat. 3 minutes left until the deadline. Captain Holland, I just don't love it personally. I think Watkins is better than Holland. Spam is rip. Ryan Martinez on the field. Martinez for sure. Start Isak, Shadow, Rogers. I'd probably actually go for Rogers first, then Shadow, then Isak. Can't wait for Palmer to let us down one last time. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. FPL 123. I did -4 to get Palmer in for Salah and Marmoush out for Watkins. Good luck, my friend. Captain Cold. Let's go. Good luck. Good luck to all of you, honestly, as you're chasing your mini league goals, all that kind of stuff. I generally hope you guys get what you deserve. In my context, I'm just desperate, you know. Get me to 5 figures. That's all I want for this season. You know, can't have a good season every season. So let this be my bad season, and hopefully I'll come back a better manager. You know. Good luck to you and Fran. Palmer blank. Don't say that. Should we ban this guy in the chat? Gotta run. Thank you so much, CM. Appreciate it. Desperate times call, or Cam rather. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Indeed, it does. Hi, Fran. Bench Marmoush or Evan Nilsson. Met Marmoush. I still think Marmoush. Keep Holland. I'd definitely keep Holland. It's not a good enough week to switch into Watkins. Palmer will blank. Mark your words. Sure. Why don't you just put some money on it? We're starting Diaz. Probably. Or you could just go Asensio. 2 minutes time. Not even 2 minutes left. It's like 40 seconds left. Palmer will cook. Palmer will cook. Yeah. Copium. Thank you for all your content this year. Hugely insightful. Thank you so much. Oprah loves cake. Who says Palmer will blank? Needs a permaban. Nah. Salah to Bowen for free and a Bomo cap. I don't love the move for a Bowen. Switch to Bomo. Come on, guys. We're doing Palmer. Palmer until the end of the season. I think Watkins is the only valid captaincy pick for me. And that's it. That is it. 9 seconds left. Lock in your moves. Please, United, don't be this game where Amarim shines, please. It's over, guys. Palmer cap has been locked. And another red arrow has been locked. No, I'm kidding. But that's it for me. I'm off now to enjoy the rest of my evening. Probably actually a nap and then watching the game because I am exhausted from a pretty busy long work week. Finished at 1 a.m. yesterday, so it's time to nap. Take care, guys. Enjoy the football. I will see you guys. You know, I'll be on Twitter at some point. You know, like, yeah. I'll be watching Palmer blank. Take care. Goodbye.